Meredith Gorman here, and are you still not subscribed to Matt's channel? Well, if you're not, hit the subscribe button because he's giving out free picks each and every week. Hope you have a good rest of your day.
UFC Fight Night back at the Apex for UFC Vegas 108, and it's a mess of a card, guys. A couple changes. We got a main event change just a few days ago. On paper, it looks really bad, but hey, could have some bangers. You never know, right? We watch all cards over here. The main event changed. It was supposed to be Albazi. Now it's Park. Park comes in 10-0. You could say very raw type of fighter, at least the UFC. He is 3-0 in the UFC, so it's not like, it's Tierra. He came in as he had the title shot as a newcomer to the UFC. That's not like this, right? Park at least has 3 fights under his belt, obviously against a lot lesser competition. So this is a big step up for him. We'll talk about this fight shortly. We'll break down the main card like always, provide free picks, leans, price talk, and more. Systemsportscapping.com or link.me/systemcapping. NFL season is here, guys. NFL season is here. The Hall of Fame game is today. That tells you the preseason's right around the corner. If you guys like volume, best time to get on board. NFL, UFC, and PGA, profitable each year in all sports. Support the system and win money long-term while doing so. What else can you ask for? You get detailed write-up emails. We have draws throughout the year, record and previews from last week, all in your email as contact and client. You do get added to the client email list. Check it out over on the website. UFC Abu Dhabi. Let's do a little recap here. It was a profitable card for clients. We did hit on our full unit play. It was a rounds parlay, 2-fight parlay. Did miss out on Whitaker, though. Close, right? I thought he won the fight. Close fight, though. I'm not going to say it was a robbery because it wasn't. I think it could have gone either way depending on how you're judging it, right? It was a split decision. So, Whitaker landed the better shots, in my opinion. He was the better striker on the feet. He had the best round, in my opinion, when he knocked down De Ridder and almost finished him in that round. So he had the biggest highlights. Now, De Ridder obviously controlled a lot of the fight, you could say, right? Against the cage or with some of his grappling on the cage. So it depends how you kind of look at it, right? And I do believe Whitaker kind of slowed down. Both guys slowed down, but Whitaker slowed down a little more than normal, right? I was a little concerned about the Ridder's cardio, but that wasn't an issue. He went all the 5 rounds. We've seen him kind of slow down in the second and third round of fights before, but he looked prepared. He looked ready. I'm not saying he didn't slow down. I think Whitaker also slowed down, which was a little bit surprising in the fight here. But yeah, I had Whitaker winning the fight, but it was close, right? If you ask 100 people, it might be 50-50. So I'm not going to say it was a robbery or anything like that. But, it sucks when you have Whitaker. You would have had a perfect card on the night. At least it was still profitable. Nice win for Jan, right? Nice win for Jan. Close to getting a title shot again. He should be next in line, guys. He has 3 nice big-time wins in a row. Just did enough, right? I advised on the podcast last week, if you're going to bet Jan, play him by decision. He won by decision to improve that price. Hopefully you guys did tail that. And, back to RDR, he's not far from a title shot, guys. I say one more win. They could just give it to him, though. You never know. He's hot right now, right? Maybe get another European name there. You don't have many Dutch guys getting title shots. So he could be in line for a title shot or at least a, number 1 contender fight. He definitely not far. But yeah, we saw 2 guys who should be in line for a title shot very shortly, Jan and RDR. Fairly good card last week. Main event, I'm not going to say it was highly entertaining. It wasn't a bad fight. Jan fight maybe a little more boring, just kind of a more technical fight. So if you like a lot of big moments, probably not a fight for you, but very technical, and that's how Jan likes to fight. Let's get into this card, guys. Again, not a great card. It's back at the Apex, so we have to expect this. On paper, the main event, very poor. However, that's on paper. I believe this fight could be good. So we'll talk about it here. Shop around, like I always say, guys. Market prices have been varying a ton. I've been looking at a lot of sports books the past few days, and they're varying. So have multiple sports books. I can't stress that enough. Let's get into it. Let's get into it. Tierra minus 350 versus Park plus 275. I don't have any issues with the line. Right? The Japanese fighter should be favored in this spot. Park's coming in on short notice. A huge step up in competition. Tierra's been there, done that, fought the main event before. So, I get it. Maybe more 3-1, 350, starting to get a little steep there. But the Japanese fighter should be this favored, and I do believe he should find a way to win this fight. He's coming off his first loss, right, to Roy Vell. When he stepped up and fought the best guy, he proved he wasn't ready for the best guy. But this is a step down here in Park. He should be able to find a way, right? He's going to have the wrestling, grappling advantage. Park can wrestle a little bit, but I expect Tierra to take advantage there. All right, striking's, you can say Tierra has been improving a lot, but Park, you probably give him a slight advantage here. But he did show that striking improvements, right? But I do like his wrestling. Just under 3 takedowns per fight. Park has shown he can wrestle a bit himself. He's not a fish out of water there, but Tierra will want to get the fight down there, will want to get into a grappling level, right? What concerns me about Park, the level of competition. He's been beating guys, but just very low competition, poor competition. It's a huge step up for a main event spot, short notice. It's a lot to ask for Park. Right? And I expect Tierra, coming off a loss, have him extra motivated for this one here. When you just look at the striking stats here, you would say, oh, Park has more volume. The defense is better. But I just believe the wrestling and grappling will be a little too much for him in this fight. Tierra should focus on that and that skill set to win this fight. I said, again, Tierra's striking has improved. We like what we see from his striking improvement, at least. Just hard to bet at this price at minus 350. You could sneak it in a 2-5 parlay if you find a lesser favorite you like. And, how would this fight end? Could it go 5 rounds? Sure. You could maybe more lean a finish at some point, but I'm not thrilled about that. I'm not confident about that. It's going to be more the bet on Tierra than over an outcome. Even though I lean a finish, I am not confident with that. So it's not going to make a client card, but it could fit into a 2-5 parlay if I can get a better price. Shop around. Tierra should be out there for a little better market price. Co-main, Rebecca minus 200 versus Duncan plus 170. A little value here on Duncan, I would say. I'm not running to the window to bet Rebecca at minus 200. Not something you would want to do. We've seen him in this type of spot before as a favorite. Disappoint, right? And Duncan, 2-fight win streak here. Right? We know Duncan's previous issue was that chin. Rebecca does throw some heavy bombs at times, could catch him. But Rebecca will have the wrestling advantage here. And that's where I believe he wins this fight. I'm going to lean Rebecca. Just don't love the price here. I think Duncan is a live underdog. I think Rebecca's going to have the advantage getting this fight down to the ground. Duncan's takedown defense, even though Duncan does have offensive wrestling, I got to mind you, he does get takedowns himself. However, the defense is poor at 37% takedown defense. I believe Rebecca is going to be able to control him there if he gets there. Right, Duncan, a couple things I do got to mention. He's going to have a big size advantage. Most people do. Over Rebecca, very short guy, 5'6", 5'7". But you also have a reach advantage as well here. Rebecca's coming off. What I like about Rebecca, he'll continue to push, come forward. I think it'll be too much for Duncan. I think the pressure from Rebecca will be a little too much. He'll continue to wrestle, continue to come forward, continue to throw heavy shots. I think it'll be just a little too much for Duncan. And that's why I'm going to lean Rebecca here for podcast purpose. I'm going to bet it, not as right now. I won't be betting for clients that don't have a bet on it as of yet. I'll be looking at it a little more here. If I can improve the price, maybe find an outcome. Outcome's tough here. Very tough. So Rebecca will be the play for podcast purposes. Don't love it, though. Next fight here could be a fun one. Ribovic minus 250 versus Brenner plus 180. Should be a fun fight. Again, like the Duncan fight, value on this price. Right? Both guys coming off losses here against good guys too, right? Brenner got Joel Alvarez last time out. Hasperaz took down Rebo. So they're fighting some decent guys in their losses here. So both guys are going to want to get back on track, right? I do believe the right guy is favored here. However, I don't have it at a minus 250. Again, I do prices before looking at the market prices. Helps me a ton. I know market lines very well, right? I had this at minus 200 for Ribovic. So, not way off. But again, value with Brenner. Just because I mentioned that there's value, guys, doesn't mean I'm betting it. I'm just telling you the market line is off. That's all. Right? And why I like Ribovic here a little more. Better defense on the feet. I like the volume a little better. Right? If this comes down to a decision, Ribovic should get his hand raised due to his 8 significant strikes per minute compared to Brenner's 3.9. That's where I think the difference will be. Brenner can wrestle, but it's not a threat enough for me to be like, yeah, Brenner's just going to wrestle him for 3 rounds and win the fight that way. It's not that good of significant difference there, guys. So keep that in mind. Brenner may have a slight wrestling advantage here, but I don't think it's significant enough to get excited to bet Brenner here. I think Ribovic very durable. I like the volume on him. That's going to be the play here for podcast purposes. Again, don't love the 250. I do believe he gets his hand raised, though. Rosa minus 175 versus Cornoli plus 150. Like, if you're going to bet this fight, again, I always say avoid these middle tier, lower tier women's MMA fights. If you're going to bet this, you have to look at the value at plus 150, right? Now, I get why Rosa's favored here because she does poorly against girls that can wrestle. Corneli doesn't. She's a striker, good striker, does not wrestle at all. And another thing here, Rosa's going to have a volume advantage here. Corneli's a good striker, picks her shots. So, right, volume at 3, Rosa's a lot higher in her volume numbers here. So I get why Rosa's favored here. I'm not going to really say, the line is off here. Right, Rosa has more fights in the UFC. If you are going to bet Rosa, don't bet her minus 175, guys. Play the decision. She's never finished a girl in the UFC. Play the decision, improve the price. But again, I stay away from these fights. I don't bet these fights for clients or myself, right? It's not something you want to get involved in. You're flipping coins. And then when I say you're flipping coins, you look at value at plus 150. I'm not going to call you crazy. If you guys like to bet volume or like to bet all the fights, plus 150 Cornella, I think this is a 50-50 fight. Could go either way. However, I get why Rosa's favored, like I mentioned. So, hey, have fun with this one. I advise to stay away. I usually like to tell you guys at least one fight on the main card, stay away. Not all the time. Usually pay-per-view cards I don't, but these type of fights in Apex, I usually find a fight that I say stay away from it, all right? This could be one of them. Magny plus 170 versus Dos Santos minus 200. I believe the price is fairly accurate here. When I did my lines, I had Dos Santos minus 150. And a couple of reasons, right? Yes, Magny towards the end of the career, he's lost 4 of his 5, but look who he's losing to, guys. His last 2 fights, he lost to Pratas and Morales. Guys that are at the top of this division, young and upcoming killers. Dos Santos is not a young and upcoming killer. He's lost 2 of his last 3 lower level guys that he's losing to Dos Santos. So, yeah, slight favor due to Magny, the losing streak. He's older. I don't expect him to be able to have a ton of success just wrestling for 3 rounds anymore or trying to grapple. And Dos Santos is going to have a striking advantage. He's going to land the bigger shots. He throws big shots, Dos Santos. He does use a good kicking game. And we have seen Magny compromise in kicking games before. If Dos Santos goes back to the tape and sees that, where Magny has been chewed up his leg before, it limits his movement coming forward, I think Dos Santos, that's going to be his path. So Dos Santos has a clear path here. Use the kicking game to the leg, land the bigger shots, he wins this fight. So I'm going to lean Dos Santos because of that. But Magny's always live to ruin your day, right? We've seen it before, the Mike Malott fight, I remember. But we've seen Magny beat guys that you shouldn't. So keep that in mind. And keep in mind his resume. Night and day difference compared to Dos Santos. So keep that in mind here. Magny will, Dos Santos will be the play. Don't like the price though. Should be a decent fight to see how it goes, right? See if Magny still has something left to ruin your day. That will do it, guys. That will do it. Not an exciting card, but like all cards, we watch the cards here, guys. We watch all cards. I'll be excited to see it. Let's see how this card goes. Couple at the Apex coming up here in the summer. Of course, some pay-per-view cards coming up. We got that Chimaev card coming up soon. Excited to see that. But yeah, NFL is here, guys. Preseason is here. Best time to be alive if you're a sports bettor. Like I always say, guys, bet smart and know your limits. Enjoy this card.